This just revealed a lot about the Florida Panthers and what this 2025 season could look like, minus Tkachuk for a bit and minus Aleksander Barkov. After their very first regular season game, there were some ups, there were some downs, and a lot of different looks to these lines compared to last season. Guys, thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Panthers Digest. I'm your host, Greg Andrews. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below. You guys need to stay up to date with anything and everything that has to do with your back-to-back Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers. On this episode, guys, we're going to do a little bit of a deeper look into how that first game ended up for the Cats. Yeah, it was a win, but there were some areas that I think the Cats need to work on. They got caught off guard in a few spots, which is why the game was closer than it should have been. Their goaltender, who was an ex-Florida Panther backup, Spencer Knight, had a phenomenal game, and the score should have been a little bit more lopsided had it not been for Spencer Knight bailing out the Blackhawks about 3 or 4 different occasions. So we're going to take a look at some video. We're going to go over the stats. We're going to take a look at the player breakdown and also talk about the lines and which was the one that stood out the most in last night's opening game against the Chicago Blackhawks. So let's hop right into it. They raised the banner last night. It was awesome to see. A little bit cheesy, yeah, with the music, but hey, man, still great. I'll take it. Awesome ceremony. It's awesome to see 2 of those Stanley Cup championship banners hanging in the rafters, and obviously those rings are absolutely ridiculous. So let's keep moving on here, guys. Yes, the Panthers came away with the 3-2 victory. It was a little bit of a nail-biter, like I said. Couple of mistakes. I think the Panthers were out of position in the 2 goals that they gave up to the Chicago Blackhawks. One was in breakaway. The other one was an odd man rush. So they've got some work to do. They were attacking on all fronts in that offensive third. They were really taking it to him in the forecheck, guys, but got a little too aggressive, and they ended up being out of position. Again, the lines are not the same as they were last year, so the chemistry isn't there yet. The way that things break down for this team like it did last year, if you want to talk real hockey talk and you want to talk about like the F1 player and those guys, and then putting the puck deep into their offensive third, your first player is going to get down there, and with the defenseman who's there, you're going to try to take him out of the play by body checking him, and hopefully the puck gets all the way around the back of the net. Then the offensive player is going to try to get to that puck before the other defender does, and so on and so forth. I'm not going to get into it, but they were out of position a couple of times. That's why they gave up 2 goals. And we'll talk about the positioning in just a second, but let's take a look. 37-19 shots. The Panthers heavily outshot the Blackhawks. They had so many great opportunities. I'll show you one to start off the game that Spencer Knight just made a great play of coming across his paint to actually stop the shot. It was a great move by the Panthers, better move by the goaltender. The biggest thing here, though, that I want to take away is the 42 face-off wins to the 28 for the Blackhawks, 60% face-off win, and Anton Lundell was a beast, almost a 78% face-off win percentage. Awesome. Baby Barkov's doing what he's supposed to do, which is win in the circle. We'll go over the lines in a moment, and I'm going to ask you guys right now, which line do you think was the best? It wasn't that first line of Verhaeghe, Bennett, and Marchand. It wasn't the second of Luostarinen, Lundell, and Rhino. No, it was the third. It was Sam Miskevich, Evan Rodriguez, and Jesper Boqvist. They had a +3 rating with 1 goal, 3 assists, and 2 shots in total. They were the line of the night. For some reason, it's always that third line ever since last season, and Marchand came over and the playoffs came. That third line, again, it's Paul Maurice knows how to match up that third line with other teams, and that has been their bread and butter since the playoffs last season. So out of everything, though, I liked what I saw. The energy was there. They were skating with confidence, but I think a little bit too confident in that offensive third, and I'm going to show you guys why right now. So let's take a look at this really quick. Here are the numbers for all the players. Sam Miskevich had a fantastic game. There's Anton Lundell and his 77.8% face-off win percentage, winning 10 of the 14 face-offs. You see the hits by Greer, Gadjevich, and Boqvist, which is to be expected. And wow, how coincidental. AJ Greer scores the first goal, and he gets into the first fight of the season. And then where was Sam Bennett? He was kind of non-existent out there. You don't see a lot on the stat line for him. He did have 4 shots. Again, that first line did have 13 shots, a goal, and a -3 plus-minus rating. But still, where was Bennett? I don't know. Maybe it's going to take him a little bit of time to warm up. But let's get back into me showing you guys this video. So here is that first play. Great setup. Panthers coming down. It looked like they were going to score just over 4 minutes being played. It was awesome, though. But look at the stop by Spencer Knight. I mean, great job by him getting across the crease and being able to put his body on that one and stop the shot. But here is where the mistakes started to happen. So you could see right here in our offensive zone, all 4 of our Panthers players, obviously the forwards and centers are going to be a little bit deeper in there, but look at this. We're caught off guard. One defender already on his way back, skating backwards to get into his neutral part of the ice and getting over into that defensive third. Our other guy was out of position against the boards. The puck comes free into the middle of the ice, and we are caught. Great play by the Blackhawks to get that puck free and kind of tip it over. It's kind of reminiscent of what happened last season against Edmonton in one of those overtime games with Marchand. That puck just getting a little bit of a tap, so it goes free, and Marchand is off to the races and scores a breakaway goal, as this one pretty much was the same kind of thing. And then here we go, the Panthers. A nice job again by the team for A.J. Greer getting his first goal of the season right there, putting it right past Spencer Knight. And here is the second goal. Carter Verhaeghe, tough angle, but he knows how to put it in the net right there, just putting it right in that near side corner above Spencer Knight, because Knight was down on his knees. And here again, we're caught off guard. All 4 Panthers are coming away from the boards. And I know usually you're going to have one guy on the puck, another guy trying to block the boards, and another guy towards the middle of the ice trying to see where the puck is going to end up going. But we're really out of position. We got one guy skating backwards again. One of our defensemen trying to get back. And here we go. Great turn by the Blackhawks. You know, I don't know what the guys were thinking, but again, I think this has to really do with chemistry. These guys are just trying to feel each other out still. It's first game of the season. It's going to take some time. And here they go. They're off to the races on this odd man rush. Wide open goal for them to score. Easy goal for the Blackhawks. Again, we're really aggressive in the offensive third. I love it. We're taking a ton of shots, but it leads to these scenarios where you're going to be caught a man down, and you're going to be caught out of position, and it's going to lead to breakaways. It's going to lead to odd man rushes, and that's exactly what happened. So we keep looking at this. Unfortunate, but it happened. And then here is the Panthers' third goal by Jesper Boquist. That was the eventual game winner. So we're going to get back to looking at these images, because Mackie Samoskevich, I think, had the better game. He didn't score a goal, but he had 2 assists. He was great out there. He had 3 hits, along with Greer, Gadjevich, and Boquist. They all were putting their bodies on the line, which was great. It was a good game. They could have played better. I think the score really should have been probably 4-2 or maybe 5-2, but Spencer Knight had some big-time stops against the Cats. So you got to give him credit. Obviously, he learned from Bob, so I don't know. I was a little worried because when I saw Spencer Knight starting to get his body and in great position for all of the Panthers shots in that first period, I was like, man, he's looking really good today. It's not going to be an easy win for the Cats because their goaltender is feeling it. He's back in his old house, and I think he's got something to prove to the fans. And yes, I know all you guys said Knight still. Whatever. I'm not going to get on you for it, but whatever. Bob had an okay game. You know, he wasn't standing on his head. He did have some pretty big saves, but he was out of position. It's really more of like the defense's fault. The 5 guys playing in front of him were out of position and just led to those odd man rushes. And most of the time, you know, your goaltender's usually not going to stop all of those. But the big guys, our first defensive pairing was outstanding. Ekblad and Forsling were both great. Forsling had an assist. Both guys were +2, so a +4 rating for that first defensive pairing. The rest of the guys, little bit biting my nails. I do like the way Petrie played. He looked like he had a couple of mistakes in terms of passing and getting out of position as well. It's going to take time for these guys to build their chemistry. And then there you go, Bob, an .895 save percentage, and saved 17 of his 19 shots. So again, the third line was the line that was the line of the night. And as we're looking at things, here we are again. Well, let me show you this first. This was Paul Maurice talking about this year and the outlook for it and how it's going to pretty much play out. He says, that's what the year is. It's that building of that identity and the finding of it. Right now, just one game into the season, they're not going to have an identity yet. It's still in the process of finding that, getting those players to be on the right lines and finding the chemistry. I wouldn't be surprised if we might see Marchand go back to that Lucian and Lundell line. I think it's very possible he could do that to see, all right, but where are you going to put that line? Is that going to be your third line? I don't think so. I don't think you're going to change that Samoskevich, Erod, and Bovequist line. I think that can stay. So do you put Rhino back on the first line and do Verhaeghe, Bennett, and Rhino, and then have Lucian, Lundell, and Marchand as your second? Again, I don't know. It's a game of matchups, and our next game tomorrow night is against the Flyers. So let's see what Paul Maurice does. Does he switch things up a little bit, or does he stick with what he did in game number 1 last night against the Blackhawks? It's going to be interesting to see. I'm curious to know what he is going to decide to do in this. Is he going to stick with everything and don't fix what isn't broken? You won the first game. Let these guys build that chemistry. Or are you going to flip-flop things a little bit, change one guy, again, put Rhino out of that second line, put him in the first, put Marchand from the first line into the second line, then keep everything else. Make a real quick change. We'll see. We'll see. I still think the two top lines, those are the top 6 guys. They would be starting. Those are the 2 lines. All 6 of those guys, what I'm trying to say is they would be on those top 2 lines anywhere in the league. Those could be top 2 lines in any team anywhere in the league, 100%. So guys, good game last night. Do they have things to work on? Absolutely. Am I nervous about the season? Not really. I'm excited. I think this team will find that identity sooner than later. I don't think it's going to take them that long. I give it a couple of weeks. I think the aggressiveness is going to stay there. I think the physicality needs to be bumped up a little bit more because I think the hits were pretty even on that. Let me take a look at that one more time. Here we go. So the hits, it was 28 hits for the Panthers, 27 for the Blackhawks. Usually the Panthers are a little bit more aggressive with their hitting. I mean, it is the regular season, so I'm not going to say they're going to do 38, 40 hits in a game like they did average in the playoffs. But I would say they might try to be a little bit more aggressive moving forward because, again, they play that grind-out style of hockey and wears down your opponent physically. That's what they do so well. But with all the hockey they played in the last 3 years, maybe they don't go that super aggressive route, take the foot off the gas a little, let these guys play a little bit different style of hockey right now. Don't have that same identity right now as you did last year. Develop, like he said, develop one, figure out what it's going to be, ride with it. I have a feeling it's going to be more aggressive in the forecheck, throwing the puck in the back of the net, trying to get more offensive boost, because I know the defensive part might be a little shaky, even though our defensive pairings are all fantastic, but those guys still need to find the chemistry as well. Obviously, your first defensive pairing is great. The second one's good as well, but I think it's that third one that we're going to have to worry about a little bit. But anyways, guys, thank you so much. I appreciate all of your support. I'm excited for the game tomorrow. Keep your eyes peeled. I might be putting one out for a pregame, kind of talk about if there were line changes, things like that. Nobody on the injury report except the guys we already know. Evan Rodriguez looks like he's going to be okay, but I don't know. He went down. He was crawling on his hands and knees. I mean, that puck hit him on the inside of the knee, and it didn't look good. So we'll see. He should be a go. He was not listed on the injury report today when I checked it earlier, but we'll see what happens. But anyways, guys, thank you all so much for your support. I do appreciate it. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below, guys, all right? Again, thank you all so much. I'll be back tomorrow. Go Cats.